Welcome back, addicts. I'm Josh,
And I'm Michael.
and today we're going to be doing another book review, a continuation of our coverage on Kill or Be Killed, and we're going to be talking about Volume 2.
Lily Sharp is a investigator. Basically, she's the antagonist of this book, or probably the antagonist of the series at large, the police.
So far.
So far, yeah. So in this volume, he becomes more efficient in the way he kills. He gets more training, and we get to find out more about him and the entity. The police have put together a specific task force to take him out through the ingenuity of Lily Sharp and her manipulation of the police force. In a good way, I guess, but a corrupt police force. So we have someone chasing after him, and the whole time that this is happening, we also have some elements with Kira and Dylan trying to reconcile their relationship and their friendship. We have some elements where Rex, we find out more about Rex. Something does happen to him significant in this, and we also find out that one of the major themes is that Dylan may just be crazy, and this all may be in his mind. He's killing people for no reason. Or, I guess, they're bad, but there's no, his life isn't in the balance, which is kind of his entire justification for doing this in some ways.
Yep.
So, that pretty much is a plot summary, and we can move on to our favorite moments.
Oh, man. There's so many, small little things I like. I do like how he expands his arsenal in this one. As a fan of, shotguns, I just love because you sit there and, as soon as you figure out he's going to get a shotgun, you're like, oh, the way he's just going to execute these people is going to get even more brutal. And that's definitely the case. So that's something that I really liked. I really like the aspect of, Michael touched briefly on, is the moment where he kind of is begging the question to himself, is this just in my head? Is this something that I came up with in my own, subconscious when I was in a dark place, and I just hang on to this as a justification to do these things, and this was actually me the whole time? And I really like that because it really turned it on its head, because when I first read it, I was like, oh, so he's doing this because an entity came to him. I was like, that was a cool aspect, but it was something where I was like, oh, I was hoping for a little bit more, And then when they bring this in, that's something that just adds a whole new depth to the possibilities, because it not only has his actual conflicts with people and the people he has to kill, the people that he's trying to avoid, whether that be his friends or the police, but he's also got this internal struggle now of trying to figure out what's going on. And so that was a moment I really liked. The ending of this book is something that is I liked it because of just stuff hitting the fan. It's one of those where you're like, oh, I want to see how he deals with this and where it's going to go, because it leads up to a lot of possibilities. But those were just a few that I'll touch base on just real quickly. So Michael, what about you?
So the people he goes after in this book those scenes are pretty brutal. He does have an encounter with the police, where he basically pretends to be a terrorist, which is very interesting. What the police would do if you say you have a bomb, that they evacuate people before, shooting you or whatever.
Yeah.
And that allows him to escape. I also like the moments where the mob are coming after him. They're another antagonist. I don't know how. Well, we don't know at this point how big of an enemy they're going to be for him, and if he's just going to kill everyone, kind of like other vigilante series where he just attacks the mob and kills them all, similar to Punisher. We don't know if that's going to be the case or it's going to be the police. So
I kind of know.
So I don't know how the balance. I like that there's a balance between it. There's the police on one side and there's the mob on the other, and both of them want him dead, so he has to come up with ways to survive.
Yeah, and it's interesting how they keep building on this, because, when they first start out, he's like, I don't know what I'm going to do. Who am I going to kill? I can't just pick somebody off the street. I don't know enough about him. And he has to, resort to people he may know or are somewhat connected to in some light. But then he has to branch out, and he has to start searching for, people that are mentioned in newspapers, or people that were arrested and stuff like that. And then, we get to see, once he connects with killing one, how it leads to bigger conflicts, and then what are the consequences of those conflicts. So that's just kind of like an overall like theme of this volume, and it definitely spills over to the next volume, I would say, and it's just really cool to see the journey and the aftermath of that.
One other thing that I really enjoyed was the scene where they're getting the task force together, and then all these people from the FBI have theories why he's doing it, how these people are related. And it's funny because if you watch shows like, if you've seen shows like Dexter, which kind of has a similar theme, or some other shows, they're always like, oh, it's a big plot, and he has like a manifesto, and he's doing things for a reason. And this guy's just like, nah, I got to kill somebody once a month, so like I just have to go out and blow off their head with a shotgun. So.
Yeah, that is a moment that escaped my mind. That is one of the, I would say, like, funnier moments of it, because it's just like, you know, like Michael said, they think that because of how well connected he is and all the things he's been doing, they think he's got some reason why he's doing this. He's got to be somebody that's like really high profile. And in hindsight, it's like, yeah, he's just like possibly some crazy dude, you know, that's just like snapped after years of pressure. And that's kind of like one of those funny things. But that actually adds to Lily Sharp's character, because she kind of looked past that. She's like one of the only people that's closest to getting after him, and nobody listens to her. Which I guess you could say is kind of a stereotype with cop-sided, you know, storylines of bases like these. But it's played in a way that I think, I mean, that's pretty realistic, because when you're somebody that's not really high on the totem pole in a workplace environment, you're not going to be taken seriously. And but the one thing that I think is interesting too is that Lily has a really potential to be not only like a threat to him because she's on the police force, but because of her own ingenuity, because we've seen in this volume that she actually was the one that leaked information about him in the first volume that actually ended up being right, that led to the formation of the task force. So that's something that will prove to be probably a bigger aspect of her being a villain towards him, or at least, you know, a confrontation that needs to be dealt with.
So now I guess we can move on to our recommendations. Josh, you can go first, and then I'll talk about what my recommendation is for this.
I won't say much. The only thing I'll say is that, given with the first one, I really did like the first volume, and this one was no exception. I really did like it, and I think I could even say I liked it better. It seemed like to capitalize on some things that they had already set up in the first one, but not only that, was able to add different elements that, you know, still led me to being fully engrossed into the story. Like I said, you know, with the twists and turns they do, that helps you a lot keeping into reading this. Because, you know, with something as simple of a plot as this story has, it's something that could be easily said that you get tired of it or you get bored with it because of how simple it is. But adding these other components really did a good job of enhancing my enjoyment and interest, and I can't wait to read the next one.
Yeah, for me, it's very similar. If you like the first one, I think you'll like the second one better. The action scenes are better. Some of the elements that are kind of like throwaway in the first, they don't focus on as much. And then the secondary theme of him possibly just being crazy is kind of a good way to add on to the series and move the character forward. So I think if you like the first one, if you read the first one, then you would like this one. If you want more of a general recommendation, you can refer back to our first review and get kind of the whole picture. So.
Alrighty. Well, that will conclude our review of Kill or Be Killed Volume 2. If you have any other interests in entertainment, be sure to check us out at our website or YouTube channel and follow us on social media. Until next time, signing off.